When you let a corporation cook your food, they cook differently than people do. You can tell just by reading the ingredient label. You don't have mono and diglycerides in your pantry. You don't have high fructose corn syrup in your pantry. Their business model depends on getting the cheapest possible raw ingredient and making it as attractive as they can without spending a lot of money. And the way you do that is by deploying lots of salt, fat, and sugar. When you layer salt, fat, and sugar, foods become incredibly attractive. And it kicks off the dopamine network and cravings. So this is the job of food companies. They're actually trying to engineer your cravings and get you to eat as much as you possibly can. A moment comes in the 60s and 70s. Women are working in greater numbers, and this launches a very awkward conversation between men and women. There needed to be, it was clear, a new division of labor in the household. There were a lot of fights about this, and a lot of readjustments happened. But before we could kind of complete that renegotiation, the food industry very aggressively steps forward and says, stop arguing, we've got you covered, we'll do the cooking. And you see this most vividly in an advertising campaign that Kentucky Fried Chicken launches in the 70s. It really is this brilliant strategy on the part of the food industry to align their interests with the aspirations of women and the pressure on men to solve this great problem. So everybody sees this as the solution and gravitates toward more and more processed food and fast food.
Overworked housewives can relax until dinner time. Equally long-suffering husbands can be saved from the horrors of much home cooking. Now, even mother can learn what's going on in the outside world. She doesn't even have to don an apron.
The food industry targeted busy housewives, building up this idea that life at home was this constant state of panic.
Having fun? Better watch the time. Dinner is going to be late.
It was just a drumbeat in the advertising.
Smart mother. Swanson does the work.
It was time, convenience, and this is better than you could make at home.
And that ushers in the situation we're in now, where you have an industry that is deliberately trying to undermine cooking as an everyday practice and does a lot to convince us it's really hard, really time-consuming, really messy, and you'd be so much better off letting us cook for you. That's why I love Harry Balzer's piece of advice. He says,
eat anything you want. Enjoy all of your food. Anything you want. You want apple pie? Have a whole apple pie tonight. You want to have cookies with that apple pie and ice cream with that apple pie? I'll allow you to eat all the cookies, all the ice cream, and all the pie you can have tonight. I'm just going to ask you to do one thing. Make all of them. Make the apple pie, make the ice cream, make the cookies. And you know what I know is going to happen? You're not having apple pie, ice cream, or cookies tonight.
I actually like to think of mindful tasks. It's about getting to that point in your own mind where this becomes pleasure instead of drudgery. As a culture, we've just gotten so far away from these little tasks. It seems like it's getting in the way of life. But actually, this is life. What better thing than to be doing the thing where your hand is in the pot, in the beans? Anything where people are actually working and doing something and making something, I think that's like among the most valuable things we can do as humans.
I'm hopeful there will be a renaissance of cooking and that it will be different than cooking used to be.
What kind of beans are these?
They're cranberry beans, fresh beans. They're not dried. They're really good. It will be cooking as an option, as a choice, and cooking because it's satisfying, not because you have to.
If you just believe that the basis of what you eat and what your family eats should be real food, it doesn't mean it will always be a perfect, organic meal. It just means it's going to be real food.
If we're going to cook, it's going to be because we decide we want to. that it is important enough to us, pleasurable enough to us, necessary enough to our health and to our happiness.